Good morning, guys. Hey, last time we talked about independent clauses, so today I want to tell you guys a little bit about dependent clauses. Now, if an independent clause can stand alone on its own as a sentence, a dependent clause cannot do that. I'm going to show you guys a few. Here they are, 3 of them here. When Katrina woke up, can you guys see that that has a subject and a verb? And yet we wouldn't just end a sentence there, would we? We would need to tell you what happened when she woke up. If I offended you, well, what am I going to do if I offended you? Am I going to apologize or what? So we need a little bit more information there, but see that it does have a subject and a verb. Again, I have the subjects in blue and I have the verbs in red. Because the Earth is orbiting the sun, okay, what? We have daytime and nighttime, right? Okay, or maybe that's because the Earth is revolving. Okay, this isn't a science course. Okay, but see that the subject Earth is in blue and the verb is in red, okay? Now that verb is a state of being verb, so it isn't really, oh, you know what? Orbiting should also be in red, is orbiting, okay? But be on the lookout for verbs where it's just one of those little words, like I've got these down at the bottom. These are the state of being verbs. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, okay? When you have a verb like that, a lot of times, if it's not with another verb like this, if it's by itself, Joseph is my brother, okay? See, nothing's happening, but I'm just renaming the subject. Joseph, brother, same person, right? Okay, so it just shows that he exists. It shows that he is something, okay? Or maybe I would say Joseph is friendly, okay? Then I'm describing the subject. We don't really need to worry about that right now. We're going to get more into that when we talk about appositives. But I do want you guys to realize that these little bitty words down here, where it doesn't seem like much is happening, but they're still verbs. So that's going to be important whenever you do the following section. Section 1, which is to identify whether the group of words is a clause or not. So as long as it has a subject and a verb in it, it is a clause, okay? Even these here, they can't stand alone on their own. They are still clauses. They're just dependent clauses instead of independent clauses. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and do the first section. Okay, now hopefully you guys noticed that every single one of those dependent clauses that we just looked at started with like a special word. When Katrina woke up. So it started with the word when, okay? If it just said Katrina woke up, okay, then it would be an independent clause again, okay? But if it has that word when at the beginning there, then it automatically makes it a dependent clause that cannot stand alone on its own as a sentence. When Katrina woke up. Now, the thing you want to look out for every time you see the word when, it's usually going to be a dependent clause, especially if it occurs in the middle of another sentence or at the beginning or the ending of another sentence. But if it's a question, then it's still an independent clause. Okay, if it says, when did you get here? Then it's still an independent clause that can stand alone on its own as a sentence. But if you see it as part of a sentence and a statement is being made, when I was a little girl, and then if I were to finish that, you would know that's not a question, it's a dependent clause, okay? Hopefully that's not confusing. Okay, and then I also erased if I offended you. Can you see that now that I've erased the clause starter, the beginning word, now it's a dependent clause. I offended you. Hopefully not, okay? All right, and then I erased because the Earth is orbiting the sun. Now that I've erased it, the Earth is orbiting the sun. That is a statement. It is an independent clause. So when you guys see those little words at the beginnings of your clause, you'll know that you're looking at a dependent clause starter, which means you're looking at a dependent clause. You can ask yourself, if I take this little word off the beginning, now can this stand alone on its own as a sentence? Okay. If the answer is yes, you know for sure you're looking at a dependent clause starter, okay? So in the following section, section 2, you are going to label as dependent or independent clauses, okay? If they've got that little extra word at the beginning, that is your dependent clause starter, and you know you're looking at a dependent clause. In the third section, I don't think you guys need to know anything new for the third section. You are just going to identify how many independent clauses there are in each sentence, okay? Sometimes I don't even think it's a complete sentence. So sometimes there will be one independent clause, sometimes there won't be any. If there's no subject and verb in there, look for a subject and a verb. If you don't have both of those things, then you're going to say 0. There aren't any independent clauses in this group of words. Okay? Sometimes you'll have 2 independent clauses. You'll have a subject and a verb, and then a conjunction, and then another subject and a verb. And other times you're going to have some dependent clauses in there. So be on the lookout for those clause starter words. Okay? Dependent clause starters. Along with maybe an independent clause. So all you guys have to do is select 0 independent clauses or 1 independent clause or 2 independent clauses. Just look for those clauses that can stand alone on their own. Look for the dependent clauses so that you know that they can't stand alone on their own. Okay? Hopefully that won't be as hard as I'm making it sound. If you have any trouble with these quizzes, guys, if you get the answer wrong after you hit submit, you can review your answers, and I have tried to give good feedback on the wrong answers. So if you do get these quizzes wrong at all, read through the feedback and see, and then I give you guys examples and I give you the right answers, and I think maybe that will clarify a few things for you. So feel free to take these quizzes as many times as you want to until you can consistently get a good score on them. And so until you know what they are, because the point is not to make a good grade. The point is to understand what's going on, right? So take these as many times as you want to until you feel like you understand them. And if you need extra help, if I'm unclear about something or if I'm too confusing, my son says what does he say? That I'm cryptic. So if there's something like that and you're like, what is she talking about? Or why is she talking so much? You could have just said this, okay? Be sure to leave me feedback, positive or negative. You know, the negative feedback is probably going to be the most helpful, especially as I'm going to continue to make these videos for you guys, and I want to do the best job that I can, and I want to teach you guys things in a way that makes sense. So feedback is not required, but it is helpful, okay? All right, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.